Okay, so I understand there's been a little confusion about the scale patterns and the modes, Aeolian, minor, whatever you want to call it. First things first, before I explain everything, this is the PDF download I got from the Complete Basic course. So you can see that pattern 1 right there. That actually, if you play pattern 1, you're actually playing natural minor because the notes are the sequence for the natural minor or Aeolian mode, whatever you want to call it. So if I start playing an A, I'm going to start that first note on the A note, the 5th fret of the 6th string. Okay, there's A minor right there. And you can just keep playing through the rest of the pattern, whatever, it doesn't matter, you're still in A minor. Now, the question was, Doug starts, he says he's playing in A minor, or A Aeolian, but he starts, there's an F note in there for the first pattern, which, it's not actually the first pattern, it would be the 5th pattern, which is a little modified. So if we look here, you see that 5th pattern right there? So really, if I was going to play it exactly how that 5th pattern is written on that scale pattern, then it would be, for the first note would be on this G. We're still in A minor, we're just starting on a G. Okay. But now what we can do is you can almost add a little extension, and this is how you start the 5th pattern on an F instead of that G. So I'll play those to show you. So here's the original way that's on the piece of paper. Okay, now here's the way if you add the F in there. So you're still playing the 5th pattern, you're just adding the F in there. Okay. Now, so basically you are playing in A minor, you're just starting on the 5th pattern on the F. Okay. Now the other question was something like, so when we're in A major, shouldn't there be an F in there? Why is there the F sharp in there? Well, the major scale has different notes than the minor scale. That's what makes them sound different. Obviously, doi. So, the major scale is actually, if we were going to play that, we would start by playing the 2nd note on the 2nd pattern. Okay, so if we continue that sequence, we would be playing the major scale. So if we're going to start playing A major, or A Ionian, whatever, then we would start that 2nd note, where that 2nd note is in that 2nd pattern, we would start it on the A, the 5th fret of the 6th string. So then we just go through. Okay, there we go. Now, the reason there's an F sharp in A major is because, okay, we're at the 2nd scale pattern right here. So if we move backwards a pattern, we're moving down to the 1st pattern. And so the 1st pattern, which the sequence is for the natural minor scale, that 1st pattern, 1st note, starts on the F sharp. So if we play through that, we're playing F sharp natural minor, okay? So there's that. Now, there wouldn't be any F note in A major because remember, F sharp natural minor has all the same notes in it as A major does. The difference between them to determine whether you're playing, okay, I'm going to play F sharp minor or I'm going to play A major, is whichever note is your root note. So I could even say, doing the same pattern, I can still say, hey, I'm going to play A major, A is my root, but I'm just going to start playing on the F sharp, okay? Okay, but normally when you play a scale or whatever, you always start on the root. So I can also say, okay, well, I'm just going to play F sharp natural minor starting at the root now. Okay, so know which notes are the same in the different modes. So for instance, I'll show you what I mean. Let's go back to A natural minor. Now, A natural minor has all the same notes as B Locrian, C major, D Dorian, E Phrygian, F Lydian, and G Mixolydian. Okay? Now, what determines whether you're playing in the individual mode is whichever note is your root. So you can keep the same exact notes everywhere throughout the fretboard. I'm not moving them anywhere. I'm just going to say, hey, my root, I'm going to play all these patterns, but my root is going to be A. So alright, if we're going to play A, we're keeping these patterns. I'm going to start playing A natural minor, which is the first pattern. First note, starting on the first note. And you can continue the rest of it. Okay. Then you want to say, well, alright, well, I want to play B Locrian. So you can go back and start by playing the first note on the second pattern. If you start playing that first note on the second pattern, your root being the B in this case, then you're playing the Locrian scale. Okay. Okay, so that was just that pattern. Now, if we're going to play the major scale, like I said before, you start off playing the second note of the second pattern, make that note your root, so in this case C is our root, so C major. Okay, now we're going to move on to D Dorian. You do that by playing the third pattern. Okay, first note of the third pattern right there, which is right here. So now on to the next one, E Phrygian. You start by playing the first note on the fourth pattern. So you still have all these same notes. They're all still the same notes as what's in A minor. We didn't move we didn't shift any of the patterns anywhere. We're just continuing to play patterns 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay? But like I said, what determines which mode you're playing in for all of these patterns which have the same notes in them is whichever note is your root. Okay? So you change the root, you change the mode that you're playing in, even though you're still playing all the same exact notes. Okay? They're just in a different sequence now because you're starting at a different note. So now if we play that E Phrygian, first note of the fourth pattern, okay, then we can move on. We can play F Lydian. This is how that I was showing that variation of the fifth pattern before. So if we move that F note back down, we can start from there and we can start playing, the fifth pattern from the F Lydian. Okay. Okay. So now, if we want to keep going to the last mode, it'd be G Mixolydian, and that would be just that scale pattern 5 right there. But now, instead of the F note being in it, we're going to play it as it is, shown on the piece of paper. So we would start on a G. Okay? So I mean, we can play it up here, or we can play it down here. Doesn't matter, because the first pattern comes after the 5th pattern. So if we were going to play the 5th pattern right here, we could go back and play the 1st pattern right here, A natural minor. We'll just play down here. So this is G Mixolydian. Okay. So yeah, then like I said, if we wanted to keep going, revolve back from the 5th pattern, go all the way back to the 1st pattern. We just go back up to where we started, right on A natural minor. Okay, easy. Now, sometimes you kind of have to really closely look at all these patterns and see how they connect to each other. That'll help you kind of understand how these modes work. I mean, it's like once you make that initial connection, though, it's like you all of a sudden understand everything. So it's like it's from this super confusing thing, you finally see that one little connection, and then it's like, oh, now I understand the whole thing. And so, I mean, you can use that kind of way of thinking to know a lot about other scales too. Like, so for instance, if we got A harmonic minor, then I think it's E Phrygian dominant has all the same notes that are in A harmonic minor. So if I'm going to do A harmonic minor, okay, then if I was going to do E Phrygian dominant, so I would go, let's see here. That might not be right. Let's see. I'll visualize it up here. Ah, yes. That's funny. Okay, so we'd actually go like this. Alright, and then back down here, it would be there we go. See, I never really think about the E Phrygian dominant mode a whole lot, so I kind of just had to be like, okay, yeah, it's got all the same notes as A harmonic minor, so how do I connect? Oh yeah, I know all that. Okay, so it's kind of an easy way to know modes that you've never really practiced by saying, oh, I'm just going to start on this note, but play all the same notes as before, just starting on a different one. So yeah, that's kind of how it goes. So like I said, just look at it closely, you'll make the connection, and then it'll be like, oh wow, I understand everything. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense.